What's more dangerous? Brian, the van life murderer, misinformation, or COVID-19? Find out more on the Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Thank you guys so much for being you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my stream. It means so much to me that you take time out of your day to listen to see what's going on and see what my take on is on things. I try to be different. I try to be a different political podcast. I try to be not the same thing over and over again, just regurgitating. What is everyone talking about? Okay, I'll get in on that. I hope I find a story that's different than what you're hearing on every single. It seems like they all listen to the same thing, and then they all just copy each other. I don't know. Maybe that was just me. Also, remember, call or text this number, 720-727-7572. You can call or text and to be a part of the show. I have a new show. I think I'm going to do another live show tonight with my robot friend. It was such a fun time. It was just being silly. But we talked about all kinds of stuff. So call that number or text that number to be a part of the show. You don't have to call. You can just text 720-727-7572. Also, if you want to be a supporter of the show, you go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show, buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. I'm going to have some exclusive content coming on there soon that is uncensored and not YouTube friendly, because that's what I want to talk about anyways in today's society as well. Breaking news coming out: the Chinese whistleblower. God, that almost sounded bad. Chinese whistleblower claims first COVID outbreak was intentional and happened in October 2019 at Military World Games in Wuhan, 2 months before China notified the world about the virus. Here's another story about how this pandemic that everyone is freaking out about, rightfully, wrongfully so, it's up to you, I think rightfully so, and no one cares about where this virus got started or how it got started, so we can never do this crap again. Another story. Will this get pushed under the rug as always? Yes. What are we talking about? Biden. We're talking about Emmys. We're talking about AOC's dress. We want to talk about those fun and interesting things, but when it comes to the hard-hitting information, the media is completely silent as always. Why? Because this requires journalism, this requires digging into information, and requires essentially maybe going against some of your biases, going against some of the things you thought previously, and it makes you look bad as a news media organization for never bringing this up ever. This should rightfully so be a huge story, whether true or not. I want to get down to why the COVID-19 even happened, why this pandemic started. But as always, our politicians, they don't care about you. They don't care about me. They just care about their image. And so does this negatively or positively affect their image? It affects their image in a negative way. So they won't talk about this kind of stuff, because then people will go, well, why were we a part of this? Why was Fauci a part of this? Why was this? Why was that? How come you guys push this under the rug? Hey, big tech censorship. Why did you guys deem this kind of stuff wrongfully to talk about? Misinformation, dangerous, all this stuff. And turning out maybe there's more information, behold, and we need a Chinese whistleblower to come out and say this. You guys just want to actually do journalism? Defector Wei Jingsheng said virus may have first spread at military tournament. Reports emerged in October 2019. Athletes at event fell ill with mystery sickness. Mr. Jingsheng alleged China deliberately spread the virus during the military games. He claims he took his concerns to senior figures in the U.S. government, but was ignored. Of course you're going to be ignored for this kind of stuff, because probably they know about it. Also, is there anything about our government that makes you just feel safe, feel protected, feel like they're out for your best interest? I don't understand these people who think that way. I don't care who's in power. You really think the government cares about you? at this point. Maybe past generations when the government was small, maybe you can make a case about that. But the government is so large and so full of bureaucrats at this point. They look at something like the Afghan pullout. We still have Americans there. I don't know. Who knows? We don't care. We don't care about you guys. We're done. Get over it. Sorry. We were able to, take out 800,000 or thousands and thousands of Afghan. All of them helped us. Sure. We're able to help those people, but not our American citizens that are still there. Sorry. We don't actually even know the number. Yeah, but I want governmental health care, because that sounds like a good idea. I trust the government with my health care, like the pullout. Like the Wuhan lab leak, quote unquote, theory. A whistleblower has sensationally claimed that China deliberately spread the COVID at a military tournament 2 months before the rest of the world knew about the deadly virus. And I remember at the beginning that the Chinese government was saying that it was actually the American government that started this whole thing. It was an American military. See, some people forgot that. Not me. I'm like an elephant. I remember. Do you remember that? Because I remember. I remember they were saying it was all about military and it's the military's fault and it's an American military. So this kind of makes me feel like this has some weight to the story because of that. Who intentionally brought this out? The international tournament for military athletes was held in Wuhan, the origin of COVID-19 pandemic. So I guess you're allowed to say that. 2 months before China notified the World Health Organization about its first cases. And here's the Chinese whistleblower guy. Mr. Jingsheng claimed that no coincidence of some of the 9,000 international athletes who gathered for the event reportedly became sick with a mystery illness. But nothing is going to come from this. As always, we get these huge facts and information. And what is our government, what is the American government caring about so much right now? What do they care about is stuff like this. Moment GOP candidate for Nevada, Lieutenant Governor, is dragged out of meeting and shoved through a metal detector while protesting country's commission's decision to declare COVID-19 misinformation a public health crisis. Our government is so fixated on our own misinformation, our own freedom of speech, the unvaccinated versus the vaccinated, black versus white, spreading us farther apart so that we don't come together and see how much of a sham they really are. They want us to continue to be fixated on each other, fighting within each other. As I just got another message saying I should go get COVID and die. I don't care. I don't even know why people think that they need to tell me stuff like that, because I'm like, cool. I just don't care. In fact, I try to leave those comments up, but YouTube deletes them because you guys are idiots. Okay, Mac Miller was violently shoved by security guards and thrown into a metal detector. It's actually a pretty violent exchange. In a 5-2 decision that the committee declared the spread of misinformation surrounding COVID-19 was a public health crisis. The government uses the word crisis in order to gain more power. Many of us, some of us younger people, haven't really noticed it as much as we should. Anytime you hear the word crisis, environmental crisis, COVID-19 crisis, white supremacy crisis, taking over. Anytime you hear that word, it's the government's way of saying, hey, we're going to use this in order to gain more power. It's for your safety. Yes, the media gets all kinds of stuff wrong. Yes, we constantly go back on things that we said before, but it's different for us. We're the experts. We're allowed to, not you. You're dumb. You're just a little people. You're a normal person. And that's wrong. Miller, as well as other citizens, declared it was a violation of their First Amendment rights. Huh. Are you saying that me, coming out and saying things that have the potential to be wrong is freedom of speech? No. How dare you? Why should I be able to do that kind of stuff? Oh, because we live in a free society? Well, not with a crisis. Brought to you by Crisis. Crisis. I can do whatever I want because I'm the government. And crisis it is. Come on, man. The government uses crisis in order to push down their laws, their agenda, in any way, shape, or form. That's why you're seeing this stupid $3.5 trillion bill. No big deal. It's not like we're in huge debt and our debt collectors are like, hey, it's time to freaking pay up. We're tired of buying your crappy bonds that aren't worth spit. They're using that word crisis to do whatever they want. That's why in the $3.5 trillion bill, they're doing things like amnesty for all these illegal migrants. Does that have anything to do with infrastructure? People don't have time to read the bills that these politicians create because they're like 14,000-page bills. I'm in the authority that thinks that all bills should be written on one piece of paper so that everyone in America could read it at the end of the day and go, this is what's being passed? Unbelievable. But no one has time to read these bills. And so they just hear words like infrastructure, voting rights, because they're just pushed down by the media, pushed down by their political constituents. Because you know what? All political and candidates, they're all just social justice, social media influencers at this point. And so they just say these words, these catchphrases that catch your ears and your eyes, that make you feel good on the inside. And then they push down these crappy bills that you never find out what's in it unless somebody takes the time to comb through all the crap. And most people don't. Even the people that voting on these things don't. So that's why you get bills like this, a misinformation bill that's getting passed down. In 2018, the Miller was convicted of GOP candidate, Nevada Lieutenant Governor, was violently dragged out of Las Vegas local government meeting and thrown into a metal detector after security guard kicked out a COVID-19 meeting. Here's Mac Miller. As always, he is a Republican and he's black. If he was a Democrat, like remember those Texas people that were claiming they were for their voter suppression bill, and they were being like kicked out of a meeting, and this guy was violently kicked out, so it's totally different. But they were being kicked out, and the media went nuts. All these white men were voting on this, and they were pushing out all these black people out. This guy, GOP, nothing. The media always says, why is the media always so concerned about white, race, blah, blah, blah? It's because you guys, the media, you guys, pick and choose what you want to talk about. You make things racial. You make a story racial when it has nothing to do with race. It's like the George Floyd thing. Did that come out? That the guy that put the knee on the neck is a big, massive racist and he hates black people? No. But we made it a racial issue because the media can do whatever they want. They know what emotions can be sparked and stirred up in your little heart, in my heart, by saying words like racist or transphobe, homophobe. They know the voter suppression, misinformation. They use these fun words to get that emotion stirred up in you so that you get angry and get hysterical because hysteria drives clicks, baby. All right. So the committee declared a 5-2 decision that spreading COVID-19 misinformation is a public health crisis. No big deal. And just another bill, another thing voted that somehow my liberal leftist friends who are against fascism, against authoritarianism, are for. They're for kind of stuff like this. No, it's a good thing. Are you insane? Do you not... What reality are you in where you are against fascism, but you're for bills like this that stops misinformation? It's just like cancel culture. People that are for that crap don't understand that one day it'll come for you because the line moves. The line moves. And if you allow people, you praise it and say, cancel culture is just calling people out for their bad mistakes. Sure, you can say a bad word, and then you should have your whole life wrecked for it. You can't just come out and apologize. No, you need to repent till you die. Protesters in this meeting claimed that it was a violation of the First Amendment rights and pushing only on one side of the... Of course it is. This whole misinformation thing is, who does these few experts... What do these few experts say as information and rightful thinking? What are these experts say as rightful thinking? And that's the only information you're allowed to talk about. If you say anything else, if you say anything different, you have any questions, you're part of misinformation. You're part of the other. Even if you're vaccinated, you're basically unvaccinated. You're different. You're in a different camp. We'll put you in a camp. We'll put you over there, and maybe you can relearn before you can come back to our world, our social media world, our media world. You're allowed out in public again because you have to rightfully think and say these things. You can't just go around questioning things. So when Nicki Minaj comes out and says USA is becoming China, this is what she's saying. And this is what I've been saying. Here's the video of security guard pushing him. Stays on the ground for several minutes. This video is at Daily Mail, which is the slowest internet. They put so many ads on these videos that okay, maybe I won't play it. But here's some footage, some pictures of him being shoved in to security. Hey, wait a minute. There he is on the ground. You know. But I respect this man for coming out and being against this bill. I have some nurse friends who push back on the mandates and said, I'm not quitting. You're going to have to fire me. And I fill out this religious exemption. A lot of people quit on the notion of Biden even saying anything. And they're keeping their jobs because they fought. This guy's a fighter. This guy is not going to allow America to become an authoritarianistic, fascist country that is so worried about misinformation. Because when you hear that word misinformation, it's basically wrong think. Thinking wrong about the way the country is, the way society should be run, and the way you and I think about each other, and the way you go about your life. Because once this becomes something they use as misinformation in a way to censor speech, they will use it for another thing. Because why? The government always uses this crisis to jam down what they need to push. That's why you're going to hear more misinformation probably come out about global warming, climate change, housing. What? Housing crisis? They use that word to force landlords to keep their tenants in, even if they're not paying rent, essentially taking over private property. People are clapping that. People think it's a great thing. You're crazy if you don't know where this road goes. If you want free housing, free healthcare, go to North Korea. They're doing just fine. They're starving to death. But no, don't worry, because North Korea is firing another missile. They're testing their might. Even though their population is smaller than the average person in the world in weight and height because they're malnourished. No big deal. They have free healthcare and free places to stay. And America can't even get that right. Because it's better in a free market society. Yes, it's hard at the beginning, but the outcome outweighs the pain at the beginning. The government, anytime, I have a lot of young listeners, anytime you hear the word crisis, something should go off in your head to go, is it a real crisis? And what are they going to do with that word? Even if it is a crisis, government doesn't have the right to take over your life, but they're constantly and consistently, especially due to this COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, are pushing the limits, and you should be wary of that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Derek O'Shea Show. I'm going to have another live show tonight on my YouTube channel. Be sure to check it out. It's going to be a fun time. with my robot friend. I think we came out with a new word for the robot, but be sure to text me at 720-727-7572. That's 720-727-7572. It's not my real home phone number, so don't worry. Or you can call and leave a message. Whatever. We'll play it out. We'll read out your messages. Be part of the show. Be a part of the revolution. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Derek O'Shea Show. It means so much to me. Have a fantastic freaking day. I love you. Bye. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution.